As a Chinese, you can say that you love and hate the national football team, but if you go back to 2002, you can say that you are full of pride. The national football team advanced to the World Cup for the first time, which was a sensational breakthrough, although it lost 3 consecutive games and failed to qualify, but the fans are full of hope. It's a pity that no one expected that the plot behind would go so far off, thinking that it was the beginning but the peak, and since then there have been ups and downs all the way. Until I lost to Vietnam, and I fought with fucking Vietnam for the bottom of the group, and I didn't want to lose my face. And because of the participation of the national football team, Eric also stayed up late to watch the whole game, especially the upset game. Even after 20 years, he still has a deep memory. For example, the Gallic Roosters' defeat to Senegal is simply a sight to behold. And the black-hearted operation of the referee in the stick country is even more stunned by the whole world, but they themselves are still shameless, and they are complacent about entering the semi-finals of the World Cup. I really don't know how thick-skinned they are. But when I watched it back then, I was angry, and now Eric only hopes that history will not change, and the Korean team must be dirty, otherwise how will he win? The so-called football is bought in reverse. The villa is by the sea, and gambling is a popular business all over the world, especially during the World Cup, which makes some people rich overnight and allows more people to go to the rooftop. Friendly reminder, don't bet. So Eric's idea is to rely on the upcoming World Cup to make waves, make a lot of money, and then buy MGM and be his own boss. Isn't it beautiful? But even if you know the outcome, it's not about winning as much as you want. First of all, every casino has a betting limit, such as Pinnacle in the United States, where the maximum bet for a single game is $750,000. You want to stud $10 million. Sorry, the casino does not accept it, and it is possible to call the police to arrest you. After all, people are also licensed legal places, regular operations. There is reason to suspect that your money is not coming from the right way. In addition to that, if you always win, it will also attract the attention of the casino, and the other party will stare at you. Even if you can't find your pigtails in the end, the casino can blacklist you. I admit you're awesome, but it's always okay if you don't play with you. And when the flow of betting funds for a game is obviously unreasonable, the casino can also choose to close the market directly. Because 2002 is not a later generation, and the relationship between casinos and casinos is also a competitive relationship, the abnormal flow of funds may not be the ghost of the other family, and it has to be guarded against. Of course, having said so many disadvantages, it is not without benefits. That is, the competitive relationship between casinos leads to poor information flow. This allows Eric to play a multi-head attack, break the line, harvest the money in the shortest possible time, and disappear while the opponent does not react. But he can't do it alone, which is why Eric has to throw a party and have to invite his friends. A fence with 3 piles, a hero with 3 gangs. Without enough manpower, it is impossible to do a big thing. The few people who were invited are all dead friends in their memories, and they are trustworthy relationships, and only by relying on them can they complete this big gamble of coexistence of risks and opportunities. In the evening, Charlie Cooper came to the hospital to visit and accompany his son, and asked his wife to go back to rest. The father and son stayed in the same hospital room, and Eric took the initiative to ask, "Dad, you look tired. Are you having trouble at work?" Charlie Cooper looked at him. "Why do you say that?" "Because you've been dressed formally, but it's off-duty time, and you're definitely working overtime, aren't you?" Charlie Cooper looked at his leather shoes and couldn't help but laugh dumbly. "You're right. The company recently held an internal test screening, but the quality of the movie is not satisfactory." "Is it the Chinese director John Woo's Wind Whisper?" Shaylee Cooper was a little surprised. "Eric, have you started to pay attention to movies too? You used to be only interested in finance." "Yes, it's The Wind Whisperer." Eric nodded. "Let me guess, John Woo's style is not suitable for war films, right?" I have seen his movies, and he has more experience with gunfights and action movies, but he has never proven himself in war movies. Yes, John Woo did a great job in Changing Face and Mission Impossible, so the company chose him and gave it all hands off without intervening, hoping that John Woo could bring MGM a big victory, but Dad paused at this point, and Eric handed over half of the peeled pear. Dad, have you ever wondered what will happen if Wind Talker fails at the box office? Charlie Cooper smiled bitterly. What else? The company will be worse off, and all the money it made from Legally Blonde and Hannibal last year will be lost. In short, it will be terrible. Dad, I mean you personally, this project should be led by you. Charlie Cooper choked. I don't know. Maybe it's a resignation. The board of directors won't allow an incompetent person to sit in this position. But don't worry, even if I leave MGM, I can find the next one. I've been in the industry for more than 30 years, and a lot of companies are willing to hire me, maybe a little smaller. Eric's face became formal. But it's going to be a bad outcome, isn't it? Sensing her son's unusual behavior tonight, Shaylee Cooper was surprised to know that his son had never cared about movies or his work before. Even if he very much wants his son to enter the entertainment industry and firmly believes that with Eric Cooper's excellent appearance conditions, coupled with the resources at his disposal, he can definitely make a rising star. Of course, whether you can become a superstar like Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks depends on luck. The so-called small fire depends on support, and the big fire depends on life. But this stinky boy was very rebellious, and he didn't understand his old father's hard work at all, so he went to study finance, which made his connections useless. This incident once made Charlie Cooper extremely melancholy. Even though his son had graduated, his heart was still haunted. Eric, what the hell are you trying to say? Asked Charlie Cooper. Eric Cooper also stopped going around in circles and said bluntly, Dad, I know that you have always wanted me to go to the entertainment industry to develop. During this period of coma, although I can't speak, my brain has always been awake, and I think about it a lot. Maybe you're right. There's nothing wrong with relying on your parents. I used to be too rebellious, and living in the spotlight and enjoying the stars and the moon seems to be very exciting. Hearing this, Charlie Cooper's eyes lit up. He didn't know how many times he had been looking forward to it at night, and finally happened, and his son still realized that he had lost his way and chose the right path in life. Although Eric Cooper has graduated from college, the 22-year-old grade is not a problem at all, and many big stars enter the industry later. As long as he uses the resources in his hands, everything is not a problem. Ha 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 ha, Eric, my son, this is a wise decision. Don't worry, as long as you have me. No, don't worry, Dad. I'm not done yet. Charlie Cooper's eyes narrowed into a slit with joy. Then you continue. Eric took a deep breath. Dad, although I figured it out, after all, I have studied finance for so long, and if I give up like this, I always feel unwilling, so I want to gamble at the end. I need money. Time is pressing, and Eric can't find a good way for a while, and the only breakthrough may be to follow his father's wishes and join the film industry. And Charlie Cooper didn't care about this, and waved his hand. How much? 10 million.